second. What's happening? We got a lot going on, man. You want to tap in. Uh-oh. And for this one. Bam, I'm just sharing this out real quick. Gonna get started. Boy, it's amazing what you find out when you do a little studying. It is amazing what you find out once you do. Bam. Tell a friend, come on in, come on in. Yeah, that's pretty much all I want to do. Bam. Let me get myself situated real quick. Man, we got some things to talk about, man. I'm gonna play something real quick. Let me see what I can play real quick. Keep on. We're gonna get into this. That there, right there. Yeah. I shine like Aurora at night. In my eyes is the light. Met a guy named Trunks in my future looking right. Okay, last poet's hype, but the rest of it is true. I'm a little all might and a lot of day cool. Watch how I move, how I do it. Feeling so smooth, selling coke to a new lip. Seen a tap on my arm, what is that? Is it Joanne? Let's have some tea. I'm really sick, but I'm kind of complex. Like being single, but I really miss the with my ex. I love it when she called, but I tell us in the text. I'm really being humble, deep down I wanna flex, but I gotta be cool. Keep it low key, baby, that's how we move. Staying low bricks, that's how you lose. It's the last jewel, elevate it into. Okay, all right, we about ready. I just had to get my thoughts together, man. I discovered something today that I've been overlooking. Missed it this whole time, man. Unbelievable, man. That's why you gotta humble yourself. You gotta study. You gotta look up words, man. You can't read past the words if you don't know what they mean. That is the key. Oh, man. So we getting into peace. Let me turn this down. Let me get this down out the way, man. Let me get it down out the way for you. One time. Bam. Boom, bam. Thank you, ma'am. We are gonna be, of course, studying out of the Holy Koran of the Moorish Science Temple of America, Moorish Holy Temple of Science, divinely prepared by Noble Drali, Prophet. Man, if you don't have it, I'll drop the link in real quick. One second. Just so everybody can be on board, man. We're going to chapter 5. Boom. Chapter 5. Got the link for you. One second. Drop that in there like that there. Bam. Then I'm going to just put it in the description just in case I forget for later. Oh, yeah, and it's 9 o'clock anyway, so now we can really get started. Cool. Peace to y'all up early in the on the Sunday, man. Or at least on the West Coast Pacific Standard Time anyways. If you're on the East Coast, it's about noon. So you should be up, you know what I mean? All right. Peace to the peoples. Okay, so we are going to be going through the same process, reading through the chapter the first time. Then we're going to identify the key characters, key locations, any words, key phrases that are in this chapter. Look those up, double back through, ask some questions, and then today we got a special bonus round. We're gonna get into this because it ties in. Oh, you just wait, Watch yourself now. Watch yourself. And this is chapter 5, After the Feast. It's called After the Feast, the Homeward Journey, the Missing Jesus, the Search for Him. His parents find him in the temple. It's a long, pardon me, this is a long chapter name, yo. His parents find him in the temple. He goes with them to Nazareth, symbolic meaning of carpenter's tools. All right. The great feast of Pasch was ended, and the Nazarenes were journeying. That's a tough journeying toward their homes. And they were in Samaria, and Mary said, "Where is my son?" No one had seen the boy being Jesus. Right? And Joseph sought among their kindred who were on their way to Galilee, but they had seen him not. Then Joseph, Mary, and a son of Zebedee returned and sought through all Jerusalem, but could find him not. And Mary asked the guards, had they seen Jesus, a little boy about 12 years old? This is key. The guards replied, "Yes, he is in the temple now disputing the doctors of the law. And they went in and found him as the guards had said. And Mary said, Why, Jesus, why do you treat your parents thus? Lo, we have sought 2 days for you. We feared that some great harm had overtaken you." And Jesus said, "Do you not know that I must be about my Father's work?" We get back to that line in a second. But he went around, he went around and pressed the hand of every doctor of the law and said, "I trust that we meet again." And then he went forth with his parents on their way to Nazareth. And when they reached their home, he wrought with Joseph as a carpenter. One day, as he was bringing forth the tools for work, he said, "These tools remind me of the ones we handled in the workshop of the mind, where things are made of thoughts and where we build up character. We use the square to measure all our lines, to straighten out the crooked places of the way, and make the corners of our conduct square. We use the compass to draw the circles around our passions and desires to keep them in the bounds of righteousness. We use the axe to cut away the knotty, useless, and ungainly parts and make the character symmetrical. We use the hammer to drive home the truth and pound it in until it is a part of every part. We use the plane to smooth the rough, uneven surface of joint and block and board that go to build the temple for the truth. The chisel line, the plummet, and the saw all have their uses in the workshop of the mind. And then this ladder, with its trinity of steps, faith, hope, and love. On it we climb up to the dome of purity in life. And on the 12-step ladder, we ascend until we reach the pinnacle of that which life is spent to build the temple of perfected man. Oh, okay. Man. Okay, so that's the end of the chapter. But just a quick key and a reminder for the next chapter. I have a line that draws from on the 12-step ladder from chapter 5 into chapter 6. So remember that next week when we go to chapter 6. But let's stick on chapter 5 because it's a lot in chapter 5. So key characters. And we're going to walk through this one because this is a learning process for me. So I hope that you gain something from this because let's just walk through it. So key characters. We have Mary. We got Mary in there. We got Joseph in there. Okay. We have a son of Zebedee. He up in there. Jesus is in there. Mary's son. Okay. We had some guards at the temple. Yeah, I mean, they're not necessarily key characters, but we know we put them in there. Just know. Boom, boom, boom. Who we got else? Okay, okay. The doctors of the law. Doctors of the law. It's a strange phrase. Doctors of the law. That's some people. Don't know exactly who, but that's key because that's who Jesus was building with. Are we missing anybody else in this thing? Are we missing anybody else? No, I think we're good. Oh, well, actually, yeah. My father's work. My father, we'll highlight that real quick. It says line 8, we're going over line 8 and 9. And Mary said, why, Jesus, why do you treat your parents thus? So now Mary is talking to Jesus. We have sought for you, Mary is saying, Joseph and Mary, your parents, have sought for you for 2 days. They was looking for this dude for 2 days. You know what I mean? You got to understand the context. You missing your parents. It was a big feast. Your parents had bounced. They realized, damn, where's our son at? He back. They look for you for 2 days. They finally find you. They're like, why do you treat your parents like this, Jesus? What's going on? And Jesus says, do you not know that I must be about my father's work? But Joseph and Mary are his parents. So what is he talking about? He's talking about Allah, that father. So I just wanted to put that in context so we know Allah is in this chapter as well. Key words, man. Oh my goodness. For me, Pasch, P-A-S-C-H, and that the whole phrase is the great feast of the Pasch. But Passion specifically, I wanted to look up because I wasn't clear on that. Let's see. It was a few other ones. Wrought, just so that we understand what wrought means. W-R-O-U-G-H-T. Symmetrical. Some of you guys may know what that means, and I had a good idea, but I said, let me look it up anyway. You could look up, yeah, you know, I would say, yeah, plummet. The plummet is some sort of tool, but just so you know what it means, I don't know what it means. But some of you may be carpenters and know very well what these tools mean. I mean, what these tools are, and what they're used for. But I don't have a visual of it in my mind. So, for me, I would look it up. I feel like that's pretty good. You know what I mean? For you, anybody watching at home or listening, whatever words you don't understand, add it to your list and look it up. And then also locations. This is also key, man. A lot of locations in this one. I said characters, Nazarenes. As a people. We need to look up Nazarenes. But then locations, we have Samaria. We have Jerusalem. We have, what was another one? Galilee. And Nazareth. I think that was all of them. Boom, 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 boom. Yeah. I believe that was all of them. Boom. Yeah. Nazareth, Samaria, Jerusalem, Galilee. Yeah.
So look up all of those places and look up where this is speaking of. For me, as we read this, the one word that I wanted to look up specifically, and I'm going out of the Oxford American Dictionary today. I may look up the other, may use some stuff online as well, but I wanted to look up pash. Well, we'll look up rot first, and then we'll go to pash. Rot. And you always, man, the wise elder Taj Tariq Bey, I always heard him say, in lessons and videos, don't read past the words you don't know. And I knew that is good, just a good practice in studying. But today it just further, affirmed or confirmed or reaffirmed why you do that. Because it's just so much in these words, man, and you really need to study to know what's going on. So rot, real quick. Rot is archaic past and past particle of work. A tough, malleable form of iron suitable for forging. Oh, that's wrought iron. Okay, wrought. Beaten out of shape by hammering. Damn. Oh, that's working in metal. Okay, so it's just the past version of saying work. I'm gonna double check on another one just to be sure. Define wrought. Oh, it says define wrought in the Bible. Boom. Worked. Well, we just gonna look up wrought in the regular stuff. We don't need the Bible right now. No disrespect to the Bible. Wrought. Put together, created, shaped by hammering with tools. Oh, okay, because he's a carpenter. Duh. Okay, duh. Free dictionary. Put together, created, carefully wrought plan, shaped by hammering with tools. Okay, used chiefly of metals and metalwork. Got you. All right. So boom, wrought. But now let's get to pash. Pash is the one. Boy, I've been trying to just make sure we get the necessary parts out the way, and then just go back and reread through this whole thing again. Oh, that's the one thing I wanted to highlight before we get to pash. Just understand that my man Jesus was missing for 2 days, and when his mom is like, "Yo, why you treat your parents like this?" He's like, "Man, don't you know I gotta be about my father's work." That boy Jesus was bold, man. I wouldn't have told I don't know if I would have told my mama that. You know what I mean? But I mean, what you gonna say? It's Jesus. You know what I mean? Pashal. See, so it's spelled a little bit different in this dictionary that I have. I don't just have, because the word in the book is P-A-S-C-H. But in this dictionary, it says P-A-S-C-H-A-L, of or relating to Easter, of or relating to the Jewish Passover. Okay, boom, origin. See, you got to get into the etymology. Oh my goodness, praise Allah. Origin, late Middle English from Old French, from ecclesiastical Latin, paschalis, from Pascha, Feast of Passover, via Greek and Aramaic from Hebrew, Passover. Okay, so so now we understand that Pash is actually Passover. So understanding, rereading chapter 5 again, and it says it's relating to Easter, which makes me wonder, how is Jesus celebrating Easter if Easter is supposed to be about, never mind, let me read. The great feast of the Passover was ended. The Passover was ended, and the Nazarenes were journeying toward their homes. So then I said, wait a minute. Well, what is Passover really? Because I don't understand what is this. So let's go to the studies. Boom. And if you look up, if you look up just Pasch, if you just put Pasch into your internet search browser, it should just show up Merriam-Webster. Boom, Merriam-Webster dictionary, give it to you easy. The first definition says Easter. The second definition says Passover. And then, here we go. Oh, that's the one I had. Boom. So I use this link. Matter of fact, I dropped this in the chat for you as well. Bam. This is the one that I read. And just to be clear, I actually, once I'm done with this class, I'm going to be doing some more studying because I literally just kind of stumbled onto this this morning before, preparing for class. So I need to do more studying to truly understand, the context of Passover historically and what was going on. But let's get to it. Pasch, and this is coming from CatholicCulture.org. A Catholic dictionary, the term Pasch. It is the Jewish feast, the great feast. Okay, so now we matching up. Celebrated annually at God's command to commemorate the deliverance of the Jews. Okay, so Jesus is a Jew, okay, from the bondage of Egypt. Ooh, we getting deep now. This deliverance was conditioned on the sacrifice of an unblemished lamb or kid. Hold on, wait a minute. Now we getting into some deep waters. I just want to let you know before we get any further. It's going to get deep. If you're not prepared, if you're scared, you might want to go to church. Watch that. Okay, so before I go any further, one, I just want to pause on this whole lesson and just pause and move for a second to the word kid. If you have children, if you have babies, little ones, stop calling them kids because kid is a baby, goat, or lamb. Okay? You don't want to call our babies that. Call them little ones, call them children, young man, little girl, boys and girls, young folk, don't call them kids. But also, I want you to really focus on this sentence here. We're getting back to the lesson. The deliverance was conditioned on the sacrifice of an unblemished lamb or kid, bones unbroken, whose blood was to be used to sprinkle the doorstep of every Hebrew house on the night before their passage. The deliverance of the Jews from Egypt was a foreshadowing of the Christian Pasch, when through the sacrifice of the Lamb of God and the application of the merits of his blood, the human race would be freed from the bondage of the devil and of sin. Good Friday in the early church was called the Pasch of the Crucifixion, while Easter Day was styled the Pasch of the Resurrection. The Sundays from Easter to Whit Sunday were always referred to as after the Pasch. Easter is the Christian Passover. Wow. Wow. Now, I just want to be clear, I didn't grow up in a church or, in an organized religion, so I see things a little bit differently, and I have the outside perspective. And Easter never quite made sense to me, but I'm rolling. It's candy, You know what I mean? The Cadbury eggs. Hey, man, what am I going to say? I'm rolling. Studying, though, this gets really deep. For me, and you know, this is why I urge you to study for yourself. I know this book is really beat up, but this is the mysteries of the silent brotherhood of the East. And it's the higher degrees for the Circle 7. It's basically, you know, more in-depth studies, a little more detail on parts of Jesus' life that isn't in the Quran. Or some of it is. It's interesting. But when I was reading the definition of Pash, and it said that the deliverance on God's freeing us, or freeing our ancestors from the bondage of Egypt, was conditioned on the sacrifice of an unblemished lamb, a light went off. I said, wait a minute now, wait a minute, what's going on? So boom, I get the book out. It said, man knows not by being told. Boom. Okay, so in this book, that chapter 3, it says the life and works of Yehoshua, Jesus' name, the life and works of Yehoshua at the age of 10 years. Okay, I said, ain't this something? Okay. The great feast of Jews was on, and Yusuf, Joseph, Mary, and their son, Jesus, Yehoshua, and many of their kin went to Jerusalem. The child was 10 years old. Okay. Going back to chapter 5 in the Quran, I need you to walk with me now. The great feast of the Pasch was ended, and the Nazarenes were journeying towards their homes. Chapter 5, the great feast was ending, and when Mary discovered that Jesus was lost, she described to Jesus to the guards as a little boy about 12 years old. Okay, back to chapter 3. This is Jesus at 10 years old. Okay, understand, about 12. Hey, let's keep reading. And Yehoshua, Jesus, watched the butchers kill the lambs and birds and burn them on the altar in the name of Allah. Going back to the definition of Pash, the deliverance was conditioned on the sacrifice of an unblemished lamb or kid, bones unbroken. His tender heart, this is back to the mysteries of the silent brotherhood. Jesus' tender heart was shocked at the display of cruelty. He asked the serving priest, what is the purpose of this slaughter of the beasts and birds? Why do you burn their flesh before Allah? The priest replied, this is our sacrifice for sin. Allah has commanded us to do these things and said that in sacrifices, all our sins are blotted out. So now we understand that what's going on, this is confirming, this is the same rituals that they're doing where they're slaughtering, and they're talking about slaughtering lambs in the mysteries of the silent brotherhood that Yahshua or Jesus was at 10 years old, is the Passover, and is the same feast it's talking about in chapter 5. Hope you're walking with me. We don't know exactly if it's the same time, because in chapter 5 it says Jesus was about 12. In chapter 3 in the mystery of silent brotherhood, it says that the child was 10 years old. So we're not quite sure, but let's keep reading. Let's keep studying. The priest replied to Jesus, this is our sacrifice for sin. Allah has commanded us to do these things and said that in sacrifices, all our sins are blotted out. And Yahshua said, will you be kind enough to tell when Allah proclaimed that sins are blotted out by sacrifice of any kind? So now Jesus is asking the priest at 10 years old, man knows nothing by being told. Can you just please tell me when did Allah say this? Jesus follows up and says, did not David say that Allah requires not a sacrifice for sin, that it is a sin itself to bring before his face burnt offerings for sin. Did not Isaiah say the same? This is Jesus at 10 talking to a priest. The priest replied, "My child, you are beside yourself. Do you know more about the law of Allah than all of Israel?" Because Jesus is now questioning this huge ritual, this great Pasch. They've been doing this. This is what they've been doing. And Jesus at 10 is like, why are y'all doing this? We're not supposed to do this. Didn't David say? And didn't Isaiah? And so the priest's like, who do you think you are, little boy? How dare you? Could you think you know more than all of Israel? Who are? Let's keep reading. This is no place for boys to show their wit. But Joshua heeded not his taunts. He was like, it's cool. It's cool, player. He went at once to Hillel and said to him, now let me pause for a second. Gotta study. Who is Hillel? Let's go look him up. His name is Hillel. And if you look it up, you'll find Hillel the Elder. Hillel the Elder was born, and this is just off Wikipedia, real simple. Was born, according to tradition, in Babylon c. 110 BCE, died 10 CE in Jerusalem. Hillel was a Jewish religious leader, sage, and scholar associated with the development of the Mishnah and the Talmud, and the founder of the House of Hillel School. He is popularly known as the author of two sayings: "If I am not for myself, who will be for me? And being for myself, what am I? And if not now, when?" And two, the expression of the ethic of reciprocity or golden rule: "That which is hateful to you, do not do to your fellow." That is the whole Torah. The rest is the explanation. Go and learn. So, Hillel is a very, very wise, sage teacher, okay? So Jesus is talking to a priest at 10. The priest tried to just shut him off like he don't know what he's talking about. Jesus like, you know what? I'm going to go to Hillel, the big dog. Let's keep reading because it gets deep. And he said to him, Rabboni. Let me pause again. He said to Hillel, Rabboni. This is how he started off the sentence. Rabboni. I said, okay, let me look up what Rabboni means, because I've heard a rabbi, but what is a Rabboni? Let's look it up. And I know this is like, why are you doing this? Why is it this necessary to look up every word? Yes. Literally, my great master, a title of honor among the Jews, specifically the highest title given to doctors or expounders of the law. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Now we are getting somewhere. So Rabboni is a title and is connected to doctors of the law. But it's not just any title. It's hot. What did it say? The highest title. Oh my goodness. A master teacher. A Jewish title of respect, applied especially to spiritual instructors and learned persons. This is Merriam-Webster. So now that we understand who Hillel is, Hillel. The L. This is Joshua, Jesus. After he was getting shunned by the priest, he went to the top dog, the Rabboni, Hillel. Rabboni, I would like to talk with you. I am disturbed about this service. I thought the temple was the house of Allah, where love and kindness dwell. Do you not hear the bleating of those lambs? The pleading of the doves that those men are killing over there? Do you not smell the awful stench of burning flesh? Can you be kind and just and still be filled with cruelty? This is what Jesus at 10 is asking The highest, the rabboni, okay? He says, and Allah that takes delight in burning flesh and blood is not Allah of love, not Allah of love. He is not my Father. Because you know Jesus told Mary and Joseph he got to be about his Father's work. I want to find the Allah of love, and you, my master, you are wise. Surely you can tell me where to find the Allah of love. But Hillel could not give an answer to the child. His heart was stirred with sympathy. He called the child to him. He laid his hand upon his head and wept. He said, there is an Allah of love, and you shall come with me, and hand in hand we will go forth and find Allah of love. And Jesus said, why need we go? Where are we going? I thought Allah was everywhere. Can we not purify our hearts and drive cruelty out, cruelty in every wicked thought, and make a temple where Allah of love can dwell? Why we gotta go somewhere? Where we gotta go looking? Allah is everywhere. And the master of the great courts, the doctor of law, Hillel, the rabboni, the master of the great courts, felt as though he himself was a child, and that before him stood the master of all the laws. Think about that for a moment, people. At 10 years old, Jesus, just off asking questions, made the rabboni, the title given to the highest one, the doctors of the law. He made him feel like a child. And made him think that Jesus at 10 was the master of all the laws. And what was Jesus talking about? Come on with it, man. Somebody talk to me. Somebody. What was Jesus standing on? Somebody. I need somebody to tell me. Come on now. Talk to me now. Was it hate? Was it killing? Was it murdering? No. He was looking for, what did he say? A lot of love. A lot of love. Come on, man. And Hillel said within himself, this child is surely a prophet sent of Allah. Then Hillel sought the parents of the child and asked that Yahshua might abide with him and learn the precepts of the law and all the lessons of the temple. His parents gave consent, and Yahshua did abide in the temple every day. And every day the master learned from Yahshua many lessons of the... See, that line is slick. You got to listen carefully, because I didn't even catch it the first time. His parents gave consent, and Yahshua did abide in the temple every day. And every day the master learned from Yahshua many lessons of high life. Wait a minute. Wait. If he's the master, then what is Yahshua? Because he's like... And the child remained in the temple of Hillel for a year, and then returned to his home in Nazareth, and there he wrought with Joseph as a carpenter. And so I just want to match things up for you so that we can understand. In my estimation, these stories are connected or interconnected, because it says Jesus stayed there for a year and then returned to his home in Nazareth. There he wrought with Joseph as a carpenter. And in chapter 5 of the Quran, circle 7, it says, and when they reached their home, he wrought with Joseph as a carpenter. Now, what the whole line, it says, and then he went forth with his parents on their way to Nazareth. Then it has a semicolon. And when they reached their home, he brought with Joseph as a carpenter. And I said, man, it don't sound like what happened to the year. So I feel like, maybe this is just condensed down to just kind of give us a brief summation of the story. But nevertheless, the key that I wanted you to understand, one, love is the key. Love is the key. Got to remember that. Two, we need to look up the words. Don't just read past the words, because if I didn't look up Pasch, I wouldn't have understood that it meant Passover, and I wouldn't have thought about the great feast and it being connected into the mysteries of the Silent Brotherhood. And me doing that made me look up the Rabboni and Hillel and understand what that means. And now that I understand that connection is connected to the doctors of law, boom, that connects us back in here where it says that Jesus was speaking with the doctors of the law. So, we got to look up the words. We got to study, be diligent. And also another thing is this story hopefully will teach you to not dismiss the wisdom of children, not kids, the wisdom of our children. Because at 10, Jesus was dropping jewels on people. You know what I mean? And if you're too arrogant, you know what I mean, and you're too puffed up, with your own ideas and understandings of things, you may miss the wisdom that's coming to you through a child. You know what I mean? Did anybody have any questions? Did any of that seem, were you able to follow along with that? Did you know anything about that? I didn't. I was kind of ignorant on Pasch and the connections. And also, I'm going to close out. I'm going to read a little something from the back of our Gita in a second as well. Just because in this studying, it was a good reminder for me to just read as much as you can, because you'll learn in other parts of this that Jesus was reading all sorts of spiritual texts, and he was studying, and he had to memorize a lot of these books memorized by like 7, 8 years old. That's why he was able to just stand on the square and, talk his talk like he was doing. He like, yo, man, Isaiah said, David said, yo, check it. Tell me where, because I done done it. I done done the work. That's why Jesus was on it like he was on it. In my opinion, anyways, from my studies. No, I don't see no questions. Well, I hope you was able to follow along with that. Pretty cool, pretty smooth. Run that back, look it up for yourself. Don't believe me, because man knows nothing by being told. But on that, I wanted to read this real quick. Yeah. Got it. And this is coming out of the Bhagavad Gita as it is. Man, I'm not an expert on this, but I know that it's a book of wisdom, and that you should look it up and read it for yourself. But I want to read this part in particular. A person engaged only in administering to the physical welfare of a human society cannot factually help anyone. Temporary relief of the external body and the mind of the living entity is not satisfactory. The real cause of his difficulties and the hard struggle for life may be found in his forgetfulness of his relationship with the Supreme Lord. When a man is fully conscious of his relationship with Krishna, he is actually a liberated soul, although he may be in a material tabernacle. those who are free from anger and all material desires, who are self-realized, self-disciplined, and constantly endeavoring for perfection, are assured of liberation in the Supreme in the very near future. What? It's a deep book, man. Deep book. I appreciate you tapping in. If you do have any questions, please email me at iamhhtemple@gmail.com. Once again, iamhhtemple@gmail.com. Please make sure you study. Make sure you study the Quran, the Moorish Temple of America, brought to us divinely prepared by the noble prophet Drew Ali, to help us uplift humanity, to teach us to teach us to learn to love instead of hate, to stand on the 5 principles of love, true peace, freedom, and justice. And after you study this one well, I say get into this one too, man. The mysteries of the silent brotherhood of the East. There's a lot of important information out there, man. Studying is the key. Don't think you know everything. That's really important. If I close out with anything, it's to rid yourself of the feeling or the thinking or the mentality that you know everything. Oh man, I know all that. No, you don't. No, you don't. And humble yourself, man. Please. I'm asking you because trust me, I've walked that path. You'll learn like, damn, I really didn't know everything. I really didn't know a lot. You know what I mean? And you know, we have been conditioned. I feel like a lot of us have been programmed to believe that ignorance is this negative thing, or it's this like, you know, if you don't know something, you're less than, or people look down on you. But I feel if you view it from the lens of being able to discover jewels and treasures everywhere, then it's not so much a bad thing. You know what I mean? Then it's just a hunt to figure out and put the pieces together. You know, so if you can, do your best not to feel like I know everything. Maybe you got a lot of treasures. You know what I mean? Your treasure map, you got a lot of jewels in this one area. But understand, it's a big map. You know what I mean? And there's a lot of treasure out there. So keep digging. Ooh, that's a good one. Much love to you. Keep shining. And love. Remember to love. Peace. Boom.